I think that's what's happening right now personally with taunting, and the emphasis on the taunting rule in the NFL, Mike, is that we've applied the sense of targeting to celebrations. You're targeting your celebration at someone, and that it's an interpretive flag. I'm interpreting that you're targeting someone with your celebration, like say Darren Waller, who spikes a ball in the bench area on Monday Night Football, even though that's the rule, you can't spike it in the bench area. It wasn't at anybody. That was just him being all fired up that he was actually targeted by his quarterback for the first time all night. And I think we've lost the plot. What do you say about this, Mike?
Well, I think that where targeting was at the beginning, where everything was targeting. And I think that's where we are a bit, although I think it's an over-exaggeration in that pretty much everything is taunting. I think we're making a little bit too big of a deal out of it when you think of in week 1 there were 3 calls, in week 2 a spike there was 11, in week 3 there was 2, and I'm not sure how many there were in week 3, but I know the one on Waller was one that to me was an overreaction by the official. He turned away. He turned away and spiked the ball, and so I just think that was not one that the league would want called. Look, I am one to agree that taunting has got out of hand, and when I say out of hand, when taunting gets out of hand, what is it? I mean, it's the fact that games get out of control, and if you look at the last few years, most of the games got so chippy, and when they get chippy, they're so hard to control from an officiating standpoint. And I know that the league has said that these coaches are the ones that, said we have to get rid of it. And that is true. But then the officiating department jumped on it, too, because they have had problems in the past few years controlling games. And, I look at the league and say, let's go back to my day when I was in the league. And I was the president of the No Fun League. I was the one that took away celebrations.
I remember that, Mike.
Go to the ground. And guys like Rich Eisen were saying, what are you doing?
Correct.
And
that's right.
You're taking the fun out of the game.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I don't care, but I think it provokes ill will. Well, the league has backed off, and now you can practically do anything when it comes to celebration. And so I think that's fine. Celebrate. Do what you want. Do cartwheels, lay on the ground, do anything you want to do that's not, sexually suggestive, I guess, is the only one that you got to stay away from. But, the league is saying, hey, you're allowed to do this. Let's not just do it at an opponent. Let's not get in his face and taunt him after you've made a great play, because it does lead to the BS that goes on after that. And I just think we're making too big of a deal out of it right now because there are so few calls. This is not like an emphasis on offensive holding that created a massive amount of holding penalties a year ago. This is simply an emphasis, not a new rule, on showing up your opponent, celebrate, don't taunt. And if we were having 40 in a game, then I would say, yeah, we got a problem. But when you're looking at 3, 11, 14, 16, maybe 18 calls in 4 weeks, I hardly think it's a pandemic, so to speak. And so but then again, the ones that, several that I have seen called, I'm saying this isn't the intent of this. The intent was the prolonged into your face, not
Correct.
this quick turnaround look at a guy. So let's understand that this is not what we really are looking for, and I think it's already begun to show that it's already eased off from just a very few to hardly any.
And I understand it's a gateway celebration, right? A taunt is a gateway celebration, gateway to chippiness, and nobody wants Josh Norman and Odell Beckham anymore. Nobody, right. I get it. Everyone understands it, but these are 15-yarders, Mike. These are game changers. These are drive stoppers. These are game changers, and they're unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, and it gives the impression to fans that, like, where it's just, why don't you make sure that the hold is proper and that the illegal contact is called or not called properly? Instead, you're like, plays over and you're throwing flags just for what? Like to show that you're in charge? You know what I mean? It only serves to piss off players and fans when it gets missed, Mike.
Well, you don't tell me that fans aren't pissed off when you miss pass interference.
No, I understand that.
In
Of
the
course.
Chargers and the Chiefs game, or in the Minnesota game that they just had against Cleveland. I mean, fans get pissed off at everything, and I get that they're pissed off, but those are football acts. I get that also, and this isn't. But I do, just remember my past history. I was president of the No Fun League.
I remember.
So I do think there is a bit of decorum that has to be in the game, and I don't think you should necessarily reflect poor sportsmanship by getting in somebody's face when you have college and high school kids that watch these games and emulate their idols, and then it always trickles down to the lower elements to the lower levels of the game. And so, and again, Rich, if we were having a ton of these, I would say we may have an issue and more of a talking point here. But it's to me, there's not that many. The initial reaction in week 2, when they didn't call a couple in week 1 and they were told, then the reaction was, okay, well, we got the word, we got to call these, and then they overreacted and then they settled back down. And I just don't think that it's going to be something. It's always the same. We talk about something and a point of emphasis for the first 4 weeks, and then basically we're not talking about it in week 11. And I think that's going to be the same with the taunting.
I hope so. Last one for you on this one, and then we'll end with the universal fix. That I remember when the celebrations in the end zone and everywhere else were outlawed, and I remember it was the owners' meeting, the membership meeting in Tampa, Florida, and I remember going up to you in the lobby. I remember exactly where I saw you. And I told you that this is a big mistake. And I remember the look you gave me, and you always would give me this look, and the look was interpretive. It's like, Rich, I get so much from the commissioner and the owners and the coaches. I don't need it from you. Literally is like kind of like the look that you gave me. And you're laughing because I know that you know that look. And you told me
right.
You told me that there were letters from coaches at the high school and Pop Warner level asking the NFL, please do something because the kids are doing it. And you said that that's part of the reason why we're doing this. Do you know, was that the same thing with the taunting? Like, where did this come from, the taunting emphasis, Mike? Where did it come from?
Well, I honestly don't know where it originated. They're saying that the coaches subcommittee, which, they've listed the names, Tomlin and a lot of the other coaches, Harbaugh, that it came from them. I don't know exactly where it came from, but I do know that there's been kind of a groundswell with the feeling within the league that it had gotten out of hand, and I'm sure that the officiating department had a part of this. But then it goes to the 9-member competition committee, and I, obviously it's a different committee with the exception of some back in my day. I mean, John Mara and Rich McKay are still involved, and there wasn't a lot of stomach even for it back then, but then it was more celebration than taunting. But I can't say where it came from. They say that it came from the coaches subcommittee. Okay, I believe that. But, I don't know how many letters that come from, high school coaches. But I do know this, that they do work with the college conferences, and they have joint meetings together. Their rules committees meet together, and I know college has always been sensitive to the fact that the NFL allows so much more in unsportsmanlike conduct. My God forbid if we got to the college game where if you high-stepped into the end zone from the 5-yard line, if you high-stepped into the end zone out in front of somebody, you would be penalized for that from the spot of the foul, the 5-yard line, and they take away the score. So it's not nearly as dramatic as at the lower levels, but I'm sure that they had some input in that too when they discussed this, and they bet these points of emphasis with all these different committees, and I don't know. Again, I'm hopeful at least that when you call me in week 11, you're going to be talking about. Let's see, it'll be about the difference between illegal contact and defensive holding, and why the hell in a 3rd and 27 is it an automatic first down? That's ludicrous.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.